Your cat has been trying to tell you something for years, not in a vague, poetic sense, in a literal, behavioral, measurable sense. And the reason most owners never hear it is not because they do not care. It is because they were never taught how to listen. What you are about to learn will not just explain your cat's behavior, it will change the way you see every single interaction you have ever had with them. Hello friends, I want to thank everyone who watches this video and supports the channel. Every like, every comment and every share means more than you think for me and for my dreams. Without delay, let's begin. There is a rule that governs almost everything a cat does in relation to the people it lives with. It is not written in any training manual. Most veterinarians do not mention it during checkups, and yet, the moment you understand it, your cat's entire personality suddenly makes sense in a way it never did before. The rule is this: cats do not bond through affection, they bond through safety. And those two things are not the same. This distinction sounds simple, but its consequences run through every part of your relationship with your cat. When you pet them without being invited, you are expressing affection. When you pick them up because you want to hold them, you are expressing affection. When you follow them into a room because you want to be near them, that is affection too. But none of those things make a cat feel safe. In fact, depending on the moment and the cat, they can do the opposite. And here is where the first surprising layer appears. A cat can love you and still feel unsafe around you at the same time. Both things can be true simultaneously, and for many cats living in otherwise loving homes, they are. Research from the University of Lincoln, published in the journal PLOS One, examined how cats form social bonds with their owners. What the researchers found challenged a long-standing assumption. Cats, they discovered, are not simply tolerating human company out of convenience. Many cats form genuine, measurable attachment bonds with the people they live with. Bonds that share structural similarities with the infant caregiver attachment that developmental psychologists have studied in humans for decades. But the critical finding was this: the quality of that bond depended not on how much affection the owner showed, but on how consistently readable and responsive the owner's behavior was. Cats were not attaching to warmth, they were attaching to predictability. Think about what that means for a moment. Your cat is not asking the question, "Does this person love me?" They are asking a different question entirely. "Do I know what this person is going to do next?" And your answer to that second question, delivered not through words but through thousands of small daily behaviors, is what shapes the deepest layer of your relationship with them. Now consider something most cat owners have experienced without ever analyzing it closely. You are sitting quietly, maybe reading or watching something, and your cat walks into the room, looks at you for a long moment, and then settles down a few feet away rather than coming directly to you. Most people interpret this as mild indifference, but feline behaviorists read it completely differently. That pause, that look, that deliberate choice of distance is a sophisticated social calculation. Your cat is reading you. They are checking your body language, your energy level, your degree of focus. They are deciding in real time whether the space near you is safe enough to occupy. The fact that they stayed in the room at all is not indifference. It is a form of choosing you, just on their own terms. This connects to something in feline cognition called environmental mapping. Cats do not just learn where things are in a physical space. They learn where emotional states are. They build an internal map that associates locations, times of day, and people with specific feelings: calm, unpredictable, safe, uncertain. Over time, you become a location on that map. And the version of you that your cat has mapped is not the version you think you are presenting. It is the version built from accumulated micro-moments. How you moved when you were stressed, whether your hands were gentle or rushed, whether interactions ended on their terms or yours. Here is a discovery that reframes something almost every cat owner has misread. When a cat sits with its back facing you, the common interpretation is that they are ignoring you or being aloof. The actual meaning is almost the inverse. A cat that turns its back on you is a cat that has decided you do not need to be monitored. In feline social behavior, facing away from another individual is a signal of trust, not dismissal. It means they have removed you from the category of potential threat. They are saying, in the clearest way they know how, that they feel safe enough to stop watching you. If your cat has ever done this, they were not being cold. They were paying you one of the highest compliments in their emotional vocabulary. The same inversion applies to slow blinking. When a cat half closes its eyes and blinks slowly in your direction, it is not simply a sleepy expression. Studies have shown that cats respond to slow blinking from humans as a social affiliative signal, and that they are more likely to approach a person who slow blinks at them than one who maintains a neutral expression. It is a form of emotional punctuation in their language, a way of saying, I am relaxed, I am not a threat, and this moment feels safe. When you slow blink back, you are not doing something cute, you are having an actual conversation. What becomes clear when you study feline social behavior seriously is that cats are constantly communicating, and what they are communicating about, almost always, is the interior state of their environment. Not what is happening, but how it feels. Cats process the world through an emotional and sensory filter that is far more sensitive than most people realize. Their hearing range extends far beyond human perception. Their sense of smell is estimated to be 14 times stronger than ours. They detect micro-vibrations through their paws. They read tension in a human body before the human is consciously aware of it themselves. When your cat leaves the room right before an argument happens, or becomes clingy on a day you are quietly sad, they are not being psychic. They are being accurate. This sensory depth means that every time you move through a room, every time you change your tone of voice, every time your posture shifts, your cat is receiving information. They are continuously updating their read of you. And what they are ultimately constructing, over the months and years of living with you, is a detailed internal portrait of who you are as a presence in their world. Here is perhaps the most quietly devastating realization that comes from all of this. The cats that owners describe as distant, as unaffectionate, as just not a cuddly cat, are very often cats that learned early in the relationship that approaching their owner led to unpredictable outcomes. Not bad outcomes necessarily, just unreadable ones. And an unreadable outcome for an animal wired this deeply around safety and predictability is enough to shift behavior over time. The aloofness was not a personality. It was an adaptation. It was the cat doing the most rational thing available to them given the information they had. And if that is true, then the opposite is also true. Warmth can be rebuilt. Trust can be re-established. Not through grand gestures, not through expensive toys or more food or longer petting sessions, but through the quiet, consistent practice of being someone your cat can predict. Move calmly. Let interactions end when they want them to end. Sit in the same room without reaching for them. Make yourself a place they can choose to come to rather than a presence they have to manage. When a cat finally crosses the room and settles against you, not because they were placed there, not because it is cold, not because the other spots were taken, but because they decided, on their own, that being close to you was where they wanted to be. That is not a small thing. That is the result of every calm moment you gave them. Every time you let them leave without following. Every time you were still when they needed you to be still. Every slow blink and every quiet evening and every interaction you let them lead. What most of us spend years calling a cat being difficult is actually a cat being honest. They cannot pretend the way humans can. They cannot stay close when they feel uncertain or act warm when they feel pressured. They can only show you exactly where they are. And once you understand that, once you stop seeing their distance as rejection and start seeing it as information, the whole relationship changes. You stop trying to get something from them. You start creating the conditions where they can give it freely. That is the hidden rule, not a trick, not a technique, a shift in understanding. Your cat has always been trying to reach you. They just needed you to learn their language first. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help me achieve my life dream. Because at the end of the day, my friend, we both love cats. And goodbye.